Hi, all. Welcome back to Beery Good Entertainment. This is episode 51, and I'm here, and my friend Lola's here. Hi, Lola.
How's it going?
It is actually really fabulous today.
Good. I'm glad.
I got 10 whole gallons of beer bottled and in the cupboard.
That is excellent.
I am so happy about that.
That is a productive day.
Absolutely. Well, this is our British entertainment section. And I'm gonna I know you have wine today. Is it a special wine or kind of an everyday wine?
Funnily enough, okay, I did get nice wine. I went to Total Wine and I went a little crazy, and I got my favorite, which is San Sebastian. That's the St. Augustine winery, and they have a port. It's so fabulous. I know, I do too. And it's a lot more than their normal wine. Their normal wine is like $10, but this is $24 at Total Wine. But I bought it. But I am such a cheapie that I don't want to drink it all at once. So what I've been doing is I've been taking various $10 wines, and I'll pour mostly $10 wine, but just enough of the San Sebastian port so I can get that warm, sweet taste.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea.
I mean, you know, I can't afford to buy. I mean, I haven't had it in probably 8 months or something, so I don't buy it that often, and it goes really fast because it's a small bottle. So now what I was doing when I was in the kitchen is I was opening a box of wine. I got, and you know, box wine can be really good. It just depends. It depends on the winery. So this, dang it, I forgot the name of it already. It's in like a gray box. I haven't had it before, but it's a red blend, and it's pretty good on its own. It's not, I wouldn't call it rich. It's not as rich as some red blends, but it is clear and clean and fruity, and, you know, it doesn't taste bad. But I had to put a little bit of San Sebastian port on it. So this is mostly the one I forgot the name of, with a little bit of San Sebastian port on the top.
It's dark. It's really dark. Well, it looks really dark.
It is, but I'm also in a dark room. We don't have an overhead light in here. I probably should have turned the kitchen light on back there, but it is a little bit dark. The San Sebastian port itself is dark because it's so rich. But the box wine isn't quite as dark.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about when you said that the ports are expensive, because you know, I remember going to a port tasting and tasting a port that was well over $300 for the bottle.
Whoa, hex to the nose.
And it actually dated like back almost to the founding of the United States.
Really?
Yeah,
and you got to taste it?
Because it had mixtures of port that was created in that time period.
That's amazing.
And oh man, it was really an adventure for the taste buds. So mad props for port.
Yeah, I would be honored if I got to taste port that was that old.
I mean that the tasting itself was fairly expensive.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they got to recoup that money. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, as promised, here is Deschutes. Deschutes.
Nice. Oh, what a clever name. Deschutes.
Low IBU, low ABV.
Okay.
I'm looking for the there. Okay. 4%, 25 IBUs.
Dang,
I am making a bold call here. And I haven't tasted it yet. That very well could be a direct competitor for the craft Bryce lagers. This is a Pilsner.
Interesting. Okay.
This is a Pilsner, and it has Tettnang, Lemon Drop, and Azacca hops. And
I've never heard of Azacca hops.
And Bohemian Pilsners, and a little bit of Carrot Pills.
Nice. You know, I'm behind on my hops because I do not know is a
Well,
name, whatever you said.
is Tetnang is a pure hop. Okay. I've never heard of Azaka, and I've heard of Lemon Drop.
I'm behind the times.
And it's definitely whoa, very super clear. Can you see it?
Very clear. Wow.
Like this is clearer than the rice loggers that I have had. It's so this is definitely like a straw yellow.
Yeah, I would say so.
Almost like a champagne yellow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a champagne yellow, and it's got lots and lots of bubbles and a fairly thick white head that's going down pretty fast.
It all depends on the taste and the smell.
It smells very citrusy. I don't know. Can I actually declare this with a citrusy flavor like this? Could this actually be a competitor to a rice lager?
Well, usually rice lagers don't have the citric.
Yeah, is that fair? It's not really
probably fair. Not. I would compare it to a pale ale, a very, very pale ale.
Well, you do get a bit of citrus. It actually tastes like there's a wash of flavor, and then the flavor goes away pretty readily. It's very drinkable, which is definitely what a Pilsner is supposed to be. The nice 25 IBU profile will attract a whole lot of people that don't like, violent hops in their Pilsners.
And that's me. I like a little bit of a kick, but I don't want to be like, yeah, if it coats my tongue with hops, then I don't like that.
I know a lot of people think Urquell has just way too much with hop bitterness. This is enormously drinkable, but the flavor goes away so fast. As an ale drinker, I'm a little disappointed.
That is a little bit disappointing.
As a lager drinker, I think it tastes absolutely fantastic. It's really bright and crisp.
With those type of beers, I actually don't expect to hang on to the flavor that long because they're meant to be drinkable, so you drink them kind of fast.
Exactly. The price point was about the same for any like six pack of cans that you're going to find for a decent craft beer on the market.
That's
a
good.
Little bit more expensive than Full Sail's Session.
That's okay though.
I'm hoping if they sell a whole lot, and I have confirmed this is around forever.
Oh, it's not just seasonal?
It is not just seasonal. Deschutes, the low ABV Session beer that they definitely want hanging around. I'm hoping as it sells more and more that the price will come down and down and down.
That would be nice. Especially for something that's a quick drink. I mean, if it's something that I'm going to drink pretty fast, I don't like to spend a lot of money on it because then it feels a little wasted.
That is true. That's true. I mean, I'd prefer to spend that money on something that's, like a bit special.
Heartier that, you're going to sip over an evening.
Not something that you're going to down with your curry.
Yeah. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, it needs to be like the 3 Game of Thrones beers that I bought at Total Wine. I finally got Game of Thrones. It's been years since I've seen a Game of Thrones. I'm so excited. I know. Yay! I don't even want to touch them. They're in the cabinet. I'm afraid to even look at them. I think they're going to like go up in flame if I look at them.
Do you remember which ones they are?
Well, it's the 3 most recent. The Mother of Dragons. Oh shoot, I forgot. But I know it's the newer ones because I'd never seen them. I mean, I'm not, I hadn't even like read articles on them or anything. So I know they're the most recent ones.
Well, I know we drank ours because we were pretty concerned that the flavor would be gone by the time Game of Thrones came around.
That's what I was thinking. That's why. I mean, I have to look at the types. I have to remember because the darker ales I might can keep, but if they're lighter ones, then I want to go ahead and drink them. So I have to see what I have. But I hate the thought of drinking them because then they'll be gone.
Yeah. Oh, if only we could run down to the shop and just get them whenever.
Yeah, it would be nice. I'm like, okay. And I know some people are saving them like they're collecting, but I'm like, no, because it's not like wine. Wine you can keep for 300 years, but you just can't keep
bourbon. Bourbon will keep.
Yeah, bourbon will keep, but beer you just can't keep it for 300 years. You just can't.
No, especially like ones with like chili, smoke, fruit, lighter beers with big expansive hops. All those flavors are going to go away, and the beer is worthless after that. Keep the bottle though. Keep the bottle. Well, and keep the cork, and that could become a collector's item someday.
Well, it kind of already is in a way, because I remember years ago when I was trying to find more Game of Thrones beers. It was during a Scannerdome show, and we were on Amazon, and I was like, oh, look, here's some Game of Thrones. Oh, and they're not charging too much for it. Let me order it. And I realized it was just the bottles and not the full beer. And so people are already selling them on Amazon for a markup.
Oh, sad.
I kept my bottles. They're the ones I got before. They're over here somewhere. So I'll keep them.
It's hard to keep all the bottles that we want to keep because the place gets so cluttered with.
And eventually you're going to want to leave and you need to be mobile.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember the flavors.
Oh. Well, I mean, you could always get a storage space. Like if you get an RV, you could get a storage space to put your stuff. It's just, a recurring charge.
That's true. I mean, that would work if we were going to stay here.
Yeah.
But shipping all that stuff, we go overseas, shipping all that stuff overseas be really...
That would be a nightmare. You don't want to do that. It would cost more to do that than whatever you would make for selling them later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there are a few bits of craft beer news.
Yay.
The very first one I'm gonna announce is I went out to a couple of pubs around, see if they had anything new, and Flat Tail really on the ball.
Good.
Number one, Wetsuit is back.
Okay.
That's a dark Kolsch, and it's really rich in like flavor and texture. It's dark, and it has just a bit of roast to it, but it's definitely drinkable. It won't overwhelm your taste buds. It's really great. And they've come up with another brand new blonde experimental called Tavulia Sunset. It has cherries, orange zest, and almonds in the mash. It's a beautiful light blush pink color.
Interesting.
And as with most of the blondes, don't look for a whole lot of sweetness in it, but you will get the cherries, the almonds, and a generous orange aroma to it.
That'd be nice. I love almond.
Wonderful. And it's 8%. So you get what you pay for.
Yeah, you better sit down for the night. Don't try going anywhere.
If you're a flat tail, have a good dinner.
That's really interesting, because when you say like almonds and cherries, like these real light fruit and nut taste, I think, oh, it's going to be a session beer. It's not a session beer.
No, and Flat Tail has a really good track record for actually attempting blonde experimental ales and turning them into fantastic beers.
Good.
I really like what they did with this, because there's lots of nuttiness and lots of cherry in the flavor, and the aroma of oranges, like it reminds you of a sunset. It's fantastic.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, because normally when I think of blonde, I think like everyday beer,
You would, but I mean, they've put chilies in their blondes, and that's one of their signature beers is their chili blonde. Really nice, really good, and this is definitely another successful beer, Tavulia Sunset.
So good. And let me, I'm sorry, I'm just going to pause you for a second. We have someone in our chat who we haven't had in our chat before, as far as I know.
Jill! Hi, Jill! I know who you are.
Who's Jill? Hi, Jill.
Jill is one of our lovely Linux people.
Neat. We love Linux.
One of our lovely techies. I listen to Jill on a regular basis.
Does she have a podcast?
She does, and our producer will put it in the chat.
Good.
I'm sure in just a second. Linux, is it the weekly? Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday? That's right. Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday. I am terrible with podcast names.
I'm the same way. Sometimes I don't remember the name, but I know who hosts it. I'm like, oh, it's that podcast with so-and-so.
Extremely knowledgeable. Jill is extremely knowledgeable, and I thoroughly enjoy listening to her talk about her experiences.
Fantastic. Okay.
Alrighty. Now, you remember the orange zest I was talking about in the Tavalia Sunset? Well, because they were so determined not to waste the rest of the orange, Flattail decided to attempt something brand new for Corvallis. I don't know, other people may have done this. And they decided on nitro cocktails.
That sounds different.
What I tasted like an orange Julius.
Ooh.
It was like orange and vodka, but super smooth and thick and rich.
That sounds fantastic.
Really, really nice. Now, the flavors obviously are going to change pretty frequently. So if you're a Flattail, don't look for the same thing all the time. But I guarantee that pretty much whatever they have on nitros, a nitro cocktail is definitely up your alley.
That sounds fantastic. I'm jealous.
Freedom from Hood River is expanding, which is nice. I've tried a couple of their things. Most of their beers are in the fancy bottles. They will expand their existing brewery in Hood River and are building a new facility in Cascade Locks, Oregon.
Okay. So have you been there?
I have not been to Freedom.
Okay.
I wish I did, but we don't yet have a vehicle.
I know, me too. So it's hard for me just to get across town.
All righty. And I don't want to go too nuts. February Fest. I don't remember.
Interesting.
I'm trying to open the. I opened the wrong link. Open the correct link.
I've got the doc up here somewhere.
Pacific Plate Brewing presents February Fest.
Interesting.
In the St. Gabriel Valley. It's where I grew up.
In California?
In California, St. Gabriel Valley.
Neat.
Wow, there's some pretty nice breweries there. Feathered Serpent, Brewheria, and Inquisitors Brewing. The project will culminate with February Fest, a festival of Latino brewers.
Neat.
Oh, okay. This is fantastic.
That's wonderful.
Fabulous. So, craftbeer.com in their news section can tell you all that you need to know about February Fest. It's at Pacific Plate Brewing Company in Monrovia.
Oh, I guess we need to be careful about our dates.
Oh,
because it says February 9th and 10th.
9th and 10th. So it was yesterday, today.
2 more hours.
2 more hours. You have 2 more hours to jump up and run down there.
So, if you're not actually already there, then you're kind of SOL.
Okay. Note to self. Start reading more news before I blame the fact that I bottled 10 gallons of beer today.
And I blame the fact that, I've had a busy weekend and I've got a lot on my mind, and I'm just drinking right now.
And Sausage Factory. I know our producer put a lot of these little items into the show notes, which is very kind of him.
Very nice, thank you.
Very kind of him.
So this is from Australia, I believe. It's .au.
.au, right there. The Sausage Factory is home to Chrissy's Cuts Sausages and Sausage Queen Brewing. Oh, it's a brewery and a sausage factory in the same house.
That would be good with like Oktoberfest if they do that, or maybe like a darker beer. That would be really good, like a triple ale. I can imagine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm half German, so
You're all there.
I would love to be there. Absolutely love to be there. The Sausage Factory in
looks like Sydney.
Is it Sydney?
It says all the beers are made in Greater Sydney.
All the beers are made in Greater Sydney, and the harder drops too, along with the best from innovative Australian winemakers.
Oh, they got a picture of the food. If you do menu, they have a picture. Oh, they got a lot of stuff.
Thesausagefactory.com.au. Ooh, this is enough to make you want to buy a ticket, an airline ticket.
And they've got their beer listed. They have something called Sausage Queen Grod, the Goblin. It says it's a plum Grodisky, but it's 2.8%. I guess they don't want people stumbling home.
Yeah.
They got a pale.
Well, I don't think they have the same regulations that we do about here.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Well, they have a few that are 7%. But so far I'm reading most of them are around 5 or 6%, which is okay. I mean, you do want to be able to get home.
That is true.
Yeah. Coffee dark ale, amber blend. So there's a white.
A nice range.
They've got a nice range. Yeah, they got pretty much every style, just about every style you'd want. That's good to know.
And it looks like they even have non-alcoholic. They have non-alcoholic organic elixirs.
That's interesting for people who don't want the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And they have sausage making class, so you can see how they make the sausage. Not really something I would want to do, because when I think about sausage, I think gross. But that's awesome for people who want to make sausage.
That's very true. Very true. I love it. The classes are great.
Yeah, I got a Father's Day sausage making thing. That's great. Find the sausage. Oh, you can buy them in grocery stores, it looks like.
Better than our sausages.
Yeah, Sydney retailers. Nice. So you can go into food stores.
Oh, that is chrissyscuts.com.au.
Go, Chrissy.
Excellent. Excellent job. I gotta close out the dozen links I've opened up now.
Yeah. Jill said, Jill said she didn't know that you grew up there in SoCal. She said, I grew up and live in the South Bay in Torrance, and we have a lot of wonderful microbreweries there.
Torrance. You have microbreweries in Torrance. Actually, I mean, I didn't really start visiting breweries until I left and went to Northern California. But I know Southern California is now becoming a really great place for craft breweries. I'm really happy to hear it.
Hopefully it's not all IPAs.
Redondo. I used to go to Redondo Beach and fish there with my dad.
How neat. Okay, well, they apparently have a brewery there now.
Oh, my dad would love that.
I bet he would have. Yeah. Well, when you get your RV, you need to go back there.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they may be too busy raking up the leaves to prevent more forest fires.
That's true, because it's up to them. Only they can prevent forest fires. Well, now if they have enough craft brew, then they can just pour the craft brew on the fire and put out the fire that way. I'm coming up with answers all over the place. So I've got an answer for everything. So.
An answer for everything. Oh, then we should probably move up to our main.
Okay.
Our main topic. After we mentioned the fact that we have an affiliate. We have more than one affiliate. We're affiliated with Amazon and Humble Bundle now. Yeah. It's fantastic. You can click the links on S0rceress0.com podcast. And here is a note to self to make sure and fill out my notes better on the affiliates. Linda.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever tried to mention the affiliates on Amazon Humble Bundle. I know we have a direct link. I'm not used to doing this.
I know. Well, it's on your website though, and here, you want me to put your website in the notes, and where Jill can see it?
Podcast. Here we go. Where did it? Oh, yes. Well, the links are there, but I need to wind up. Oh. Yeah, the links are, here we go. We'll put in the. Oh, it's the there we go. Thank you. I feel silly.
Don't feel silly. It's fine. I'm a little bit out of sorts too. I just woke up maybe an hour ago.
Well, I watched our top more than once. A Very English Scandal. Did you like it?
I did.
I thought it was extremely apropos for the confrontational nature of it, because it was definitely it wasn't quite about being gay as much as it was the politics involved.
And how you handle yourself in the face of it. Are you going to own who you are? Are you going to be fearless? Which, Jenny, the best friend, said that Norman Scott is the bravest person he's ever met, because Norman Scott owned it from the beginning. He never lied about who he was. Well, except for when he married the woman. But we'll forget about that. But other than that, he never lied about who he was. Whereas Jeremy Thorpe was the squirrel who was like, who? What? No, I never did that. That's ridiculous. So
yeah,
who are you going to be?
In the beginning, it was illegal.
Yeah.
The whole gay scene was very illegal, and cops would go to extraordinary lengths to trap gay men.
That's so disgusting. That's so horrible.
It is, and there was, and later on, at the very end, we see why it was such a risk. When it was illegal, there was no recourse for a gay man who had been assaulted.
Yeah, you can't say you were raped because you weren't supposed to be doing that in the first place.
Exactly. And what in our minds comes up when we think about gay men is not rape. We don't normally think, that a guy can get raped just like a girl can, but a gay man needs those protections just as much as women do.
There are a lot of intricacies, and I've been guilty when I was younger of thinking, oh, well, it's okay because if your sexuality is gay and another man forces himself on you, then, well, at least you're already gay. I remember thinking that one time, and then I was like, no, wait, that's not right, because you could say the same thing about heterosexual people. if a woman is raped, you could say, oh, well, she likes guys, so it's okay. No, just because you have that predilection, just because you identify as gay, doesn't mean that you give permission for men to come and take advantage of you. But you did have a lot of vulnerable people back then, and they had nowhere to turn, like Norman Scott. Now, Norman Scott, he was vulnerable in that I do think he had a mental illness, so I can't say that he was in control of what he was doing. So in a sense, he was vulnerable, but also in the same time, he knew exactly what he was doing because he did manage to blackmail. So he's not, and that's one of the things I put in my notes. There aren't any complete villains or complete victims in this story. Because I feel for Norman Scott because he was, I think, mentally compromised. So he already had a hard time functioning in the world, and then he had this on top of it. But at the same time, he was cunning enough to blackmail Jeremy Thorpe and keep after it for 15 years or whatever. So in a sense, he's a villain because he's a con man, but he's also a victim because he is almost like a child too in spirit. And then you have Jeremy Thorpe, who sometimes I felt sorry for him, especially when his first wife died, because he did seem very moved by that. And of course, I felt for him because he was in what seemed like an impossible situation. He had this way he felt. He had the way that he was meant to be, a gay person, but everything around him since he was a kid was telling him it's wrong. And what I was saying earlier is, you can tell the spirit of a person by how they handle themselves in the face of an impossible situation. Well, of course, he took the cowardly way at every turn. So therefore, I can't call him a victim. He's more of a villain to me. But the underlying reason that he acted that way was horrendous, that it was illegal to be gay. And so you have that basis, and you see how so many people deal with that almost impossible situation.
Very true. That is a really excellent summation of it. Really. Now I did, I questioned too why Norman couldn't get a new national insurance card, but I think the national insurance card is different from the health card. That I'm wondering why he couldn't prove he lived there.
I mean, can he? Well, I mean, he probably doesn't have a birth. I can't imagine that he carries his birth certificate around with him. But it seems like someone would have it on record.
Did he actually say where he was born? I can't remember if he actually said where he was born. If he was born outside of the whole
hospital system,
would he have had to prove that Jeremy Thorpe was his boss? That may have been it.
I don't know, but I mean, when I think of the national insurance card, I think of what gets them their medical, kind of.
Yeah, that will, and I think it, is it also the right to work? Is it like a Social Security card? Yep. Okay. It's like a Social Security card. So here, when you come into the country, not only do you have to prove that you are a legal immigrant, they have to approve the fact that they allow you to work. So you can't even work without a Social Security card. So if a national insurance card is like that, then you can't work. Okay. So that's why he kept saying, it's my lifeblood. He couldn't get medical help. He couldn't get work. He couldn't pay taxes.
He had to be a ghost.
Yeah. And then eventually he wound up with the Welsh.
Yeah, he went to Ireland and Wales.
Yeah.
But I think he left Wales after that just broke my heart with his wife.
Yeah, it did. Because she seemed, I mean, she was shocked when he actually said it.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked like she was really shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't seem like she was suicidal until I think it was the next day when she was talking to the hitman.
Yeah.
And she's crying very heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden she's dead. And they said she had been in there for weeks.
Yeah.
And like it was really shocking. That obviously it was so hard for her to either accept that he had loved another man or that he had just loved somebody else.
I don't think it was that, because when they came out of the courtroom, after he had given his testimony about how he had loved Jeremy Thorpe, you know, I was looking to see how she would react. I was going to see if she would be appalled, but she just said, "I didn't realize he meant so much to you." So I
think I had a sneaking suspicion she said that to cover up the fact she was so hurt.
Maybe. I think what really caused her so much consternation is that he left. Because remember, he left her for obviously at least weeks. And remember when she called the parliament member who was going to help her?
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a sniveling jerk on his own, but he was on her side in this. And she said, "Don't worry, the matter's closed. He's gone." So I think, I think she really wanted to help him, because she got the Welsh politician involved. But then, and I remember she was saying, "I have these flights of fancy and I get so emotional and so involved in people." So I think what happened with her is that she just really fell in love with him. And she just really just enwrapped herself around him and just really, really, really became attached to him, and he left. And I think I got the sense that the reason she did what she did is because when he left such a void that she couldn't cope. I just think she loved him that much.
That makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. It sounds a bit like obsession.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, because the other guys were not nice to her.
Nope.
Not at all. So the second that this person, she reaches out to this person, he actually responded to her, to have that all of a sudden ripped away. That would be enormously painful.
And I kind of got the sense that she was kind of a loner anyways, because she just kind of lived by herself. And I think you said, didn't the other girls make fun of her or something? I thought. I remember.
I think everybody made fun of her and like she felt humiliated by it, or that's how she viewed it.
Yeah.
It is possible that's how she viewed it, and it may not have been like that, but that's how she felt.
Yeah. So I think she already felt displaced, and she already felt, like she just wasn't satisfied. She didn't feel like she belonged. And when she was with him, I think she became a unit with him. Because hadn't she had another husband who had died? And I think she had been like that with him too. And so I think she just embraced him. I think she embraced Norman so much that when he left, she fell apart. And,
Norman did seem to, like, he jumped from place to place to place. He did. And it seemed very chaotic to me. Like, he was a bit desperate. Like you said, like the mental issues that could have been part of the mental issues.
I definitely felt like he had a lot of mental issues. The way he would just get so wrapped up in things and so out of sorts so easily, and he'd be on the phone, "I need my insurance card, you need to do this," and just very, I don't like to use the word histrionic because that's kind of a slam to women, that word, but
I don't know. He did seem to have a whole lot of hysteria. He was very dramatic,
hysterical and dramatic. Yes, to his detriment.
Yes, to his detriment. Now, here's the big question. Do you think that that Thorpe actually did try to kill him?
Well, see, that's the thing I was thinking. If you just watch this movie, then it's very obvious because they show the scenes with them discussing it, and Thorpe saying we could just kill him and all that stuff. But I mean, we don't really know what happened. We don't know if those scenes are actually true because they were found not guilty, and I don't know what source they actually have for those scenes. So those scenes could just be totally made up. So I just don't know. That's the weird thing. I mean, I have all this vitriol towards Thorpe, and I'm like, I don't really know.
He was proclaimed innocent at the trial.
Yeah.
Well, he was proclaimed not guilty.
Not guilty. They didn't have enough evidence.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if that's the same thing as innocent, but it's definitely not guilty. The not guilty got him off. And, there is townandcountrymag.com actually has an article called "The Strange True Story of a Very English Scandal." And that kind of gives you a reality check to some of what's in the movie, because obviously the movie, it has to be a movie. We have to feel all the highs and lows. So a lot of it's going to be dramatized. But this kind of gives you a reality check as to, did Thorpe really actually think about this to try to do it? Because after reading it, it kind of gave me pause.
I mean, we don't know. We have the testimony of the guy who actually attempted it, the guy who went to jail. So he said that Thorpe was behind it, and that the other parliamentary dudes gave him the money for it and everything. But we just don't know. I mean, obviously he got the money from somewhere. He got the idea from somewhere. We don't know if it was Jeremy Thorpe or the other guy who was in love with him. The one who I think looks like Simon Pegg, and you said he does look like a weasel.
He does look like a weasel.
He's just like, he looks like he'd do anything. Oh, but talk about obsession. They're on court for this trial, and the weasel guy is still like, I love you, Jeremy Thorpe. I'll do anything for you. And Jeremy Thorpe is totally selling him out. I'm like, stop it. Stop being so in love with him.
David Holmes. David Holmes, he was the one that said he would do anything for him, right?
Yes. So, I mean, it seems like he had something to do with it, but we don't know if he was the mastermind or if it was Jeremy Thorpe. I felt a little bad for his best friend, the one who moved from California, because initially, he was like, we can't do that. But then he started playing along with it. He was like, well, maybe we can. Okay, I'll arrange it. So then I stopped feeling sorry for him. I'm like, dude, no. But then at the end where, they convinced him to rat out Jeremy Thorpe, I'm like, yeah, rat him out. Do it. It's just like, but even, I felt a little bad also because, he was throwing away his friendship with Jeremy Thorpe. But then I'm like, Jeremy Thorpe is horrible. He's a horrible, despicable human being. He should have never been friends with him to begin with.
But, I mean, he didn't even live there anymore. He wasn't technically, he was technically friendly a little bit, but not really friends.
Not anymore.
No, he moved to a different country and, like vanished from his life, right? Vanished from Thorpe's life. So,
well, I mean, I understand why he would, take the stand against Thorpe, because he was given the choice. You're gonna go to trial for this, and if you turn on your friend, then maybe we can give you a reduced sentence or something. So he did have motivation to turn on his friend.
Yeah.
I just wish they hadn't done any of that to begin with.
Well, the movie makes it seem like if Thorpe had just handed over a national insurance card, the whole thing would have gone away.
I'm saying, just give him his damn insurance card. He left the insurance card at the stable place. Somebody couldn't go back and try to look for it.
Yeah. Or
just
get a copy or
something, just to help the man. Instead, they ended up with like 15 years of stalking and then crime and then all this stuff.
Peter Bessel leaving letters in an office space in the ceiling.
That was dumb, unless he wanted to get caught.
I mean, it was
he didn't think they were ever going to go up there. I mean, what was he thinking? Why would he even
put it in a more secure place than that? A place you could access. Yeah. I mean, what if that had just become somebody else's office? Obviously, it might have been somebody else's office. What if you needed those papers? What do you convince the person to leave and then just like stand on top of their desk and go rifling through the ceiling?
Go in the middle of the night, I guess, break into Parliament and get it. Why not just bring it with them to California? Who's gonna freaking look in California?
Yeah. I mean, and after a while, it wasn't illegal anymore. It did become legal at some point. And Thorpe easily could have made it all go away just by giving him the national insurance card then.
Right, but he was so caught up in his own image and keeping this perfect politician facade going that he refused, and he just became so stubborn that he would not do it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, everything's going to fall apart anyways.
Yeah.
And it did. Everything did fall apart. He lost his job. And surprisingly, his second wife stood by him. I mean, I guess she was all for decorum too.
Yeah, she was the good wife.
Well, she was also a lady. She was noble. So she was probably more likely to want to preserve the facade.
Yeah.
Which may be why he married her.
It's like, that is true. That is true. Now, I was pretty impressed. They got Hugh Grant to play Jeremy Thorpe.
Yes, and he was perfect. He even kind of looks like him. If you look at the pictures of Jeremy Thorpe, he's like a handsome.
I mean, that a lot of that might have been good makeup. But his facial features actually do, I agree, look like Jeremy Thorpe.
Long face. Yeah, he's got that long face and that kind of. Hugh Grant has always been great at playing like a playboy and someone who's just trying to avoid things.
Yeah,
he's always great at that because he just has that like, who, what, me? What are you talking about?
Yep.
That's kind of his typecasting. Mm-hmm.
Now, the person I was more impressed with was Ben. I hope I don't murder this name. Wislow. Isn't it WHISHAW? Did I spell it?
I may be saying it wrong. I've always said Wislow, but I could be wrong.
I thought it was Wishaw, but
you might be right.
American.
You might be right. Yeah, I have it. You could be right, and a lot of those old, English names, they like the name Urquhart from the original House of Cards. It's like, where the heck did they pull that out of? What kind of name is that? So some of those old English names, it's like, I don't know what grave they pulled that name out of. I never heard that.
Well, I did not realize that Ben plays Q in Bond movies.
That's where I knew him from. Because I recognized his name. Huh?
I was like, oh, he's going to be in a Bond movie. And Shay was like, yes, he isn't Q in all the movies. And I was like, really?
Yeah. That's why I knew him, because I never heard of him before he started playing Q. And so I remembered his name. I recognized his name because I didn't know how to say it. I was like, that's a different name. Wishaw. And now that I think about it, I think you are right. I think it's like Wishaw. I was just been saying Wishlow. I think it might be Wishlaw. But yeah, because I remember the name and I was like, he's interesting. I like him. So, and then I saw him and then I saw he's going to be in this and I'm like, he's perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
He is
really,
perfect.
I mean, really expressive.
Very expressive with his face and his body and everything.
Yeah. I can't believe that all of them. Norman Scott is still alive.
He's still alive. He's still kicking it. The article that you showed me said he's basically in a cloister type environment. This out of the way 11th century building. So,
well, maybe that suits him, that he doesn't, maybe it's that, you know, life doesn't come crashing in on him. Maybe when life comes crashing in on somebody like Norman Scott, he kind of just explodes.
Right. And with the mental issues I was talking about, I would say just the armchair diagnosis, he definitely seems like he had Asperger's. And he seemed like that. And so it might be better for him to be off, you know, in a calmer environment without a whole lot of stimulation. Because it seemed like when he got into, like when he was modeling in Ireland, I think it was in Ireland, and he was caught up in the drugs and everything, he became more unhinged. So it seems like the more drama is around, the more unhinged he is. So it probably is a better environment. Huh?
And when things are not reliable.
Yeah.
I don't like when my plans like come undone.
Me too.
I detest it. I feel like the whole sky is coming apart on me when my plans like
Me too. And when I'm relying on something and it doesn't come through, I just feel lost.
It's very hard to deal with it. Very hard to deal with it. And he actually literally may not be able to deal with it unless he can find reliability and stability in his life.
He needs it. And it sounds like, I mean, from the article I read, you know, he's got like several dogs. I can't remember exactly how many, but a lot. And he's got a boyfriend.
The end of the movie said 10.
That's good. I'm glad. So he had his wonderful dog taken away from him during the movie, but he got 10 more.
Mrs. Tish. I remember.
Well, he had 2 dogs.
That well, the Mrs. Tish was the original one. And there was a tiny little terrier.
It was so cute.
So cute. And then later on he was friendly with this big huge Marmaduke.
Well, I think he took on the dog. If I remember correctly, they had a discussion where he had been just dog walking the dog.
Yeah.
But then I think the owners didn't want him anymore and they gave him to him, I believe.
Well, he said, well, it's, you know, they hardly ever take care of her anymore. So I guess she's mine now.
Yeah. So she became his. So it was his dog. And he did say when his dog was shot, he said, they shot my dog. They shot my dog. I think the most earnest relationships he had was with his dogs.
Which, you know, that's really nice. That's nice.
Nice. And that's true.
Because obviously the dogs would be reliable. They're not going to.
And they love him. And they're not judging. And they're not taking away his national insurance card.
Yeah.
You know. And they don't leave him like Jeremy Thorpe did. So he loves his dogs.
The court scene.
Yeah.
Did the court scene when Norman Scott came into it seem hilarious to you? It seemed like he didn't want to make everybody laugh.
No.
But his responses just were. They were just hilarious.
They portrayed him as being very funny, but unintentionally so. That's another reason why I think he might have had Asperger's syndrome.
Yeah.
Because he said things. I mean, I think he was being dead serious because they had tried to murder him, and this was the trial. And he was trying to get someone to see him. That was one of the heartbreaking things. All he tried to do the whole time was to try to get people to see him and hear him, and no one would. And of course, when he's that passionate, he's going to come off as dramatic and effeminate because that's part of who he was.
Yes.
And all people could see was the drama and the however you say it, the effeminate way he was.
Yeah.
So that's all people could see, and they laughed at it. And, you know, I mean, yes, the things he said were funny because they were so ridiculous because he was on, you know, the trial was for him being murdered and trying to be murdered.
Yeah.
So it was ridiculous, and just the whole situation was ridiculous. And he was speaking earnestly, but they were laughing because it came out funny. But that made me feel even more for him because he wanted to be taken seriously and people were laughing at him. And the judge, the horrible things the judge said that was just awful.
Oh man, that judge got torn apart. Apart for that. Like years later, they were still making fun of him in public for that.
They should have. Yeah. Obviously Norman Scott is just dramatic. And then the way he tore down the best friend from California, I felt really bad about that because all the judge seemed to care about was that the friend had sold the story to the Mirror or whatever. And the judge said, oh, so you profit from this being true. And it's like, no, I wish that the best friend hadn't sold the story because that did kind of put a crack in the credibility when he did that. I wish he hadn't done that. But that's still nothing the judge should not be judging based on that. Because I mean, this guy is on trial for a crime.
Yeah.
He's not going to try to make it seem more dramatic than it is. He wants to get off. He doesn't want to go to jail. So that was a cluster F to begin with.
It seemed very odd to me that a judge would make those blatant statements that were obviously meant to influence the jury.
Yeah.
It really holy cow. No wonder they made fun of him after that.
They should have, yeah. I mean, sign of the times. They shouldn't have let that happen to begin with, but it was the 70s and it was still, back then it was still frowned upon to be homosexual. It still is in some cases, but back then it really was.
Yeah. And a very sad, but a really good movie. And at times it was funny. It was totally worth the watch.
Definitely worth the time. Definitely. Please watch it. If you have Amazon Prime, it's well worth it. It's just 3 episodes, right?
3 episodes.
So it's a mini series. And it wraps up. Yeah, I mean, it wraps up the story. And it's a satisfying conclusion.
Let's see. And if you would like to read the book, you can click on the link, which is in the show notes or on S0rceress0.com and I did it again.
You've got. I'll put it. I'm gonna try.
Well, I know there's a if you click on the link, if you buy it through our link, then we get money for it. Then it'll help support our show.
Okay, I'll put it. Is that the link in our document?
Yes.
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat. So I just put it in the chat. That's the book it was based on, and I believe the book was published after Jeremy Thorpe died in 2014, which makes sense.
Hard to believe it. All the way to he did live until 2014.
Yeah,
he was born in the 1920s.
So he was
29.
I think it said 29. So he was pretty up there. I mean, probably in his 80s, I think. So it makes me wonder. I'm like, did he go back to his proclivities? Or was he faithful to Lady Marmalade? I mean,
I don't think he went back to his proclivities. I think he had put that behind him because I think the public eye would have been on him very close after that.
That's a good point. Yeah, anyone he would have relations with would have known him immediately and would have been like, "Oh, excuse me, the Sun, the Mirror. I've got a story." He would probably have to go to a different country to do it. Even then, I think he would be known. And I hate to say this, but he may have been scared straight.
Oh,
literally scared straight. He may have been. That was bad.
That was bad, but I forgive you.
Thank you. But he may have been. He was like, I'm not doing any more.
Well, you know, you can't be scared straight. Obviously, if he was bisexual or gay, he would have been bisexual or gay the rest of his life.
No matter what.
But he may have been scared into acting straight the rest of his life.
Yeah, he may have been cowed away from pursuing the activities he wanted to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
But that lady, I'm calling her Lady Marmalade. I don't remember her actual name. She was severe.
She was tough. Really, like tough. Like this royal had teeth.
Yeah, she did. It's like
she was just like, I sent your little boy, you know, to the babysitters so we could sit down and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was like a command: go into the dining room and sit down because I am going to talk to you.
Yeah,
you are going to answer my questions, and there's nothing else that needs to be said about it.
She was tough and she was strong.
Yes.
Now, I don't like the whole thing where, you know, they pretend like it never happened and they have a united front, and, you know, I don't like the whole keeping up appearances thing.
Oh, yeah, I don't
like that.
But keeping up appearances thing, but yeah. But then again, if she was royal,
well, noble. Not
or noble, if she was noble, what really other choice would she have had? It's protect the family at all costs.
They had that impressed into them from a young age, especially back then. You know, you save face. That's what you do. Stiff upper lip and all that. So I don't blame her for it. I think that was her natural instinct was to protect the unit and, you know, control what the media knows. So that's just what she knew.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't tell, she's long gone, but I can't tell her that that was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do because it's her family, it's her business. If that's what she wanted to do, if that's what she wanted to do, that's fine. And that's what he wanted to do. And, you know, it also changed things that there was a child. And so when the child came into the picture, I did start to feel protective of them, as, you know, I wanted the child to be okay. I didn't want the child to be hurt. And so I did, you know.
We really didn't, other than the couple of scenes that we saw the little boy, we really didn't learn anything about him, which is exactly as it should be.
Right.
Because that was definitely not our business to know.
No, and he was still a child and he just knows daddy. And it was so heartbreaking that his mom died. That was just terrifying. And I really did feel sorry for Thorpe during that time because I really do feel like he was affected. And I hated that Welsh politician because the Welsh politician was like, well, Thorpe, you know, the government's not running itself. You need to get back to work. And I loved
and if you need somebody to take over for you.
And, you know, Thorpe got a few points on his scoreboard with the way he reacted because Thorpe just he just gave this look like, really? You just said that? Yeah. He was like, my wife just died. And so Thorpe got a few points in my book on that. I was like, okay, yeah. He had the right reaction. It was like, no, you do not weasel in here. I did not like the Welsh politician.
Yeah.
But I really thought that when Eva Miles got involved in, you know, the Welsh politician found out about the affair, I really thought that was going to go somewhere. I was really surprised that it ended up getting dropped.
Yeah, I was too. But then again, they did say it accurately that Jeremy forgot. Like for a long time, Jeremy would forget about Norman Scott, and then something would remind him, and it'd be like a trigger.
Yeah, and there it is all over again.
All over again.
The Norman affair.
The Norman affair, exactly.
Yeah. He should have just put that to bed.
A lovely miniseries.
Very good. A piece of history I never knew about.
Yep. Well, another piece of history is actually gone from our British entertainment lives.
Oh, that's so sad. He's my father's look-alike.
Albert Finney. known from such wonderful films like Big Fish, and Aaron Brockovich has died.
Big Fish was one of my favorite movies.
It was, and I want to go back and watch it again now because it really was a good movie.
My favorites, and he looks so much like my father. The shock of white hair, the perpetual kind of crazed expression.
Crazy expression, yeah.
That's my father. What's going on? That was my father, and so I always loved Albert Finney. I just loved him, and now I'm heartbroken.
Eventually, we have to let them go.
I know, and I mean, he'd reached a decent age, 82.
Yeah, 82 is respectable. Although, now we start looking for, people to live into their 100s.
Well, and
especially our great actors and actresses. You just wrap them up in bubble wrap.
I know. It's like, don't let them go. I've been thinking about things like that a lot lately. And I do wonder, I'm like, why do some people get 96 years? Some people get 76 years. Why? I mean, it feels so unfair.
It's such a mix of different things, from your genes to your environment to your food and the everything around you, that it's an impossible equation to figure out, how long you're likely to live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my family lives well into their 90s.
That's awesome.
So, as long as I eat decently and, keep from falling downstairs or getting run over by goats.
Well, that's important. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I passed the military thing. I didn't die in the military, so
that's good. That's good. That's something you have over a lot of people, unfortunately.
Something nice after that, though.
Okay.
I found a cartoon I like. I know you're probably not much into cartoons.
Not much.
I really am. Okay. Hilda is a British Canadian cartoon about a child that lives in a supernatural forest and then is moved to a big city called Trollberg. But like all these magical things just keep happening to her. And it's super cute. It reminds me of some other really appropriate adult cartoons, even though this is definitely pointed towards children. So that it was enjoyable for me to watch, simply because it was so fantastical, talking about trolls, giants, and pixies, things that live in our everyday world as if they were real. Mm-hmm. It's really nice. If you're into cartoons or you want a new cartoon for your kid to watch, then Hilda is probably something. It's on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's actually on Amazon. It is not on Amazon. Wow, it's only on Netflix. So it's a good one on Netflix to watch, and I am campaigning for BritBox to bring it to BritBox.
That would be good.
Yeah. That'd be really nice.
I've been watching one of my guilty pleasures, Most Haunted, on Netflix, and they have some more recent episodes. These are from 2015, and I've been watching the show for 10 years, and first of all, there's so many rumors that so much of it is faked. It's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to watch it without thinking about that. But these new shows, these more recent shows, they seem to all be dependent on just people screaming and saying, "Did you see what was in the corner? There was something in the corner. Something just touched me." No.
So they don't like that. Don't bring out like the equipment and like.
They don't. Not like the shows I'm used to. I'm used to, having the voice recorders and the mapping and stuff. They don't do any of that. They don't even have EVPs. They just depend on like knocking, and they just say knock once for yes, twice for no. That was 2 knocks. Wait, no, that was 1 knock. Was that 2 knocks? And so they just do that, and it's a lot of throwing things. Oh, quiet, that thing was thrown across the room. You know, a lot of things like that. And it's just really just a lot of shouting and people running around and screaming. And I'm like, I'm watching it for nostalgia's sake, but I'm also like, oh, come on, people, stop screaming. I'm really tired of everybody screaming. Like, oh,
so the earlier shows are better than the shows now?
I remember them being better. It could just be I'm misremembering, but yeah, now it's just a bunch of screaming, and I'm like, stop, people, please just stop. And there's so many people. Normally when you have they have, sometimes they'll have 8 people, and I'm like, why do you have so many people? Why? Don't have that many people. And they're just screaming, and oh, did you see that? And I'm like, stop, please stop. But I'm still watching it.
Well, I haven't quite found anything else. So I guess unless you know of something else you would like to watch. Because next time is politics.
I can't think of anything right now, but I'll be looking around.
That sounds good. Because we have lots and lots of, like future show ideas. I would love to do eventually. I'd love to do the future foods.
Yeah.
Which would include, talking about vegetarianism and vegetarianism and eating, grody stuff.
Yeah, I know we talked about insects and bugs. I'm not there for that. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
I have a glass from my last beer.
Oh no, you need a glass.
I shall have to send my producer out for a glass. Magical. Ta-da! Oh,
yay,
do you have a glass? I'm assuming that you would like to be fed today. Don't waste the beer. This is another different one.
Okay.
From Bridgeport Brewing. I could have swore I heard something about Bridgeport Brewing closing, but I'm not going to make that official because I'm not sure whether it was Bridgeport or another one.
Well, I'll look them up while you're doing that.
What is different is this is an IPA, but it's a port-aged IPA. Aged in port barrels. It's only 5.6%.
That's not bad.
The bottle makes it seem like it's a wine, but it's definitely an IPA. Hop Hero series. Ooh, nicely carbonated. Nicely carbonated.
Okay.
All right, Bridgeport. Impress me. Oh, nice fluffy head. Whoa, hello.
Whoa, that's a bit too much. It's going crazy.
Cold. Ooh, that concerns me, but it didn't go over the glass.
Okay. Saved at the last minute.
Smells interesting. I rarely get IPAs anymore because we are so hopped out.
I can't do hoppy beers anymore. I tried just a quick aside, when we were at a restaurant and they had an Ardwolf beer, which is a local brewery. I went ahead and got it because I didn't really want what else was there, but it was an IPA and I could only drink half. And actually, I think that might have been what started my stomach on its course, because that was yesterday at the pizza place. So I had pizza and half of that IPA. And my stomach has been bubbling ever since then. It's like,
Okay, boys and girls, feed your producers. They make us sound good.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, this smells like wine.
Interesting.
It has a fruity aroma.
Okay.
Whoa. Oh, my eyes are watering.
Oh no! Why is it making your eyes water?
Okay, this is like they shoved a bunch of grapes in the glass and then poured hops on top of it. Oh,
that's not good.
I'm not sure. What do you think?
It's more like a sour.
It tastes a bit like a sour. Okay, I hate to say this, Bridgeport. I really don't like it. You can have the rest, because I'll be lucky if I finish the glass. It's it's not a sour, but it's extremely tangy.
Tart.
Oh, and now I don't get as much of the hops. That first sip was all like explosive, like tang, grape, hops, grab your tongue, pull it apart. The hops have calmed down a little bit, but I'm breathing out like grapey, tart, grapey
stuff. That sounds a bit much. Maybe too intense.
I think it's way too intense for me. And it's very thick. Like it's way thicker than I would anticipate an IPA to be. I don't think it's I might have to I would probably have to have a different bottle in order to ascertain whether it's actually gone bad, but it doesn't have a bad bacterial flavor.
Okay.
It just doesn't taste nice to me. I'd say this is an experiment gone wrong.
Okay. That's too bad.
In contrast, my ginger brew, which I bought
nice today. Yay.
Lots and lots of ginger. I really like it.
Good. That's excellent. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, there we go. That takes away the taste.
Good. Ginger is good. I love ginger.
Let me glance, and I don't think it's Bridgeport.
I put something in the chat. You might be thinking of Burnside.
Oh, Burnside. That's it, right?
Yeah, they closed. Their landlords kicked them out. So, but it was a surprise.
Burnside has closed for not paying rent.
Yeah, that sucks. And is it in
Burnside? One of the Burnside beers that I remember is their apricot chili beer. And that was not necessarily impressive in the chili, but it was a decent ale. It was okay. Burnside Brewing, I didn't get them very often, but they were decent. But I think they're probably one of the ones that just couldn't claw a hold, hard enough to stay in the business.
Yeah, well, this says that they hadn't been paying their rent. Now, the article states that someone said there's a lot more story than is apparent, so don't judge them yet. So it sounds like there must have been some dispute with the landlord.
It is possible, but I don't. From what I've heard, I don't think they're going to be opening again under Burnside. If we do see them again, I will definitely let people know. But I don't anticipate seeing them opening again.
I went to their website. This is I guess maybe ironically interesting, but the second sentence in their blurb on their website says they are risk takers.
They are risk takers. Yeah, they're they're everything from their stout to the sweet heat, which is the the apricot chili beer was pretty experimental. They, as I said, they weren't bad. They just never really struck me as like an everyday.
Okay.
Like there just wasn't anything that I could drink from them like an everyday beer. You know? So my purchases of their beers were once every great while, which probably didn't help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going to step out on a limb. I'm looking at their menu. It's kind of expensive. Their grilled cheese sandwich is $13.
That's actually pretty normal for a brew pub.
Really?
I know it's
Really?
crazy, isn't it? Yeah, but that is pretty normal for a brew pub. Brew pubs depend on, you know, a higher priced menu than most places.
Yes, yeah, because they don't have as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's not like a big restaurant where they have a whole lot of customers and a whole lot of food. They have to have a smaller clientele.
Some of their beers, their cocoa porter, was a coconut porter, but it didn't quite measure up to other coconut porters.
Mm-hmm.
But their fresh hops were really nice. I liked their fresh hops. They have a bunch of other ones. Cherry Cream Ale and Thundar the Bavarian were actually fairly decent. So I'm pretty sure if I'm not sure if they have another place where they may be bottling.
That's what I was wondering. Do they bottle on site? Maybe they still have a warehouse location where they can produce beer. I hope for their sake. It says fermentation hour every day, 3 to 6 p.m. So maybe that makes me think maybe they do ferment on site. If that's the case, then
brewery.
That was under beers.
Yeah. But location, yeah, that is the only location I see. Which is sad. If you know, it's sad when you see a brewery that you have seen beers from, and I saw them quite frequently in Safeway, which is a pretty dependable source to sell your beer from.
Yeah.
When you see that every single time you go in, it's sad to know that brewery may be gone.
Yeah, because it's nice. I mean, they were able to make it, they had enough distribution where they could be in grocery stores in the surrounding towns, not just in Portland.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, that was a milestone on its own. And to think that after all that, it's just gone. It's sad.
It could be. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they pop up somewhere else, or if they don't, I hope the brewers move somewhere else to be able to continue giving us adventurous beers, even though I didn't like all of them. I may not have liked all of them personally, but I do appreciate adventurous beers. I really do.
And hopefully the staff finds new jobs, because the article said that the staff didn't know until Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a really rough part, especially when you're dealing with an abrupt closure. Then staff have to go, running for other places, and hopefully they'll find jobs that are, in the brewery industry that they like.
And hopefully there won't be too much a gap in pay, because, when you start a new job, it takes time for all that to start up. So
very true.
So hopefully they won't have to go too long without pay. That's just really rough.
Oh my. I think that's everything I have on the notes.
Oh, I can say I bought a book. We went to Fernandina last night and stayed overnight so that I could visit my mother's gravesite.
Oh, did you have a good time? Like, in light of the trip, was it a relaxing trip?
It was nice. We stayed in a cute little, okay, this is funny. This is actually kind of funny. All right, the place we stayed, it's been redone and it's new management and everything, but it used to be, I believe, a Ramada Inn, and I got fired from there. It's the only job I ever got fired from.
Oh.
And I got fired because, in my defense, I was only trained for 4 nights before the person left and I was on my own. I was overnight. And they had this old computer, even for, this was like the year 2000. And even for 2000, it was an old system. It had a zip drive. And there's this huge manual that you had to follow. And you backed up to the zip drive twice. I didn't know the rhyme or reason for why you backed up to the zip drive twice, but that was in the manual. And so if you weren't careful and you lost your place in the manual, you know, you may not remember if you had already backed up the first time or if you were on the second time.
Yeah.
And so it was easy to, you know, to lose your place. Well, the first night on my own was a Sunday night, and it was a rough night. It was constant, people coming in constantly, which was surprising to me. It was a Sunday night. And then there was an altercation in the parking lot, and I had to call the cops. And it was just a bad night. And I was, you know, this was only my 5th night there. I'd only had 4 nights of training, and I was just like overwhelmed, and I was the only person there. And so apparently I lost my place in the manual. And I must have backed up one too many times, because then everything came out 0.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I overwrote everything from that night. And so when the manager came in at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, I just thought, well, you know, okay, I made a mistake, but it'll be fine. You know, she came in and she was like, this isn't working out. You need to go. And I was like,
oh.
So yeah, I worked there a total of 5 days, but luckily no one who worked there when I was there was original. You know, I didn't recognize anyone who was there, but I recognized the place. I even was peeking in the back. I saw the room because there were 2 rooms in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like remembering sitting there, and the lady who I replaced had this crazy Excel spreadsheet. And, you know, I didn't know how to do formulas in Excel. I still don't really. And she had all these formulas, and I remember trying to figure out how to do the formulas, and I remembered everything. Yeah, it all came back to me. Yeah.
But lots of memories.
Lots of memories. But it was okay.
Were the rooms fairly nice?
They were nice. They've been totally remodeled. Totally.
Oh, wow.
Pretty hardwood, gray hardwood floors. Very pretty furniture, light colors, you know, very like Florida like, you know, light grays and cream colors, and nice king size bed. I could actually lay like the opposite way and my feet didn't hang off and my head didn't touch the edge. So if you have a family of 4, y'all could sleep on the bed if you really wanted to. And
or then there's me on the king size bed, and my husband gets the cot.
Well, and there was a sofa too. There was a sofa, and I think it was pull out. So, and it was cheap. I went on Groupon, and for Fernandina, this is cheap. The total price was $115, and you got 4 free drink vouchers. There was a bar on site. And so we went to the bar, and now I never know what I want when it comes to actual drinks. I pretty much stick to beer and wine. And it turns out if I ordered wine, they would still charge me $4. And I'm not going to, it said, I'm not going to let a free voucher go to waste by paying $4. So I didn't know what to get. I said, do you know how to make grasshoppers? Because I know I like those. And the poor lady, you know, she admitted, she said, I have to go look and figure out what's in it. And I said, do you have grenadine? And she looked at me like she didn't know what the heck I was talking about.
Oh,
I said, never mind. I said, never mind. I said, well, what would you recommend for someone who doesn't like the taste of pure alcohol? And she said, her signature Sea Breeze cocktail. So I got that. And it was pretty good. I mean, you know, it's just drink mix, I think, and probably bottom shelf vodka or whatever. It was okay. So I drank that. And then we went to eat. We went to this place that Mom and I used to go to all the time, and it's been there for probably 40 years. It's called Cedar River Seafood, and so it's all seafood. It's really good. And Clint enjoyed it, and he had gator. Speaking of weird things, he had gator tail.
Oh, that's not weird. But then that's me.
That's weird to me. I'm not eating it. I didn't even want to touch it. I didn't even want to have anything to do with it. He was like, "Do you want some?" I said, "No. I'll stick to my." I had salmon stuffed with crab, and I won't eat like crab.
That sounds amazing.
It was really good, and they gave you two. Now it was, to me, it was expensive. The dish was $18, but they gave you two.
Yeah.
And you had two sides. It was kind of funny. I was trying to be healthy, and they had okra and tomatoes. And so I was trying to order that. And the waitress said, "Oh, fried okra?" And just the thought of fried okra just perked me up. I said, "Yeah." Oh. And at the same time, Clint went, "No, no, no." And I went, "Yes. Fried okra, yes." So I ended up with fried okra, and they had sweet potato mashed potatoes, which was really good. So I only ate half of it while I was there, and I took the other half back, and I actually just finished it before we started our show.
Leftovers are wonderful, aren't they? I can't believe you ordered the fried okra.
I know. I love fried okra, but I've been trying to be healthy, you know. But she said fried okra. I went. But the whole point of me saying this is we went shopping in the downtown, the historic district, last night, and they have a bookstore that's been there as long as I can remember. And so we went in, and, you know, I've been buying, I usually either do Audible or Kindle books. So I haven't bought a physical book in a long time. But one thing my mother instilled in me is you don't go anywhere without buying something. So she instilled that in me. So I couldn't go in all good consciousness and spend time there and not buy something. So one of my favorite series is His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. He's a teacher in Oxford. Yeah. Well, I remember that he started a new series in the same world. So I found the book. The series is called The Book of Dust, I think, something like that. And the first book is called Le Bon Sauvage, I think, something like that. Anyways, I bought that. So I started reading it last night. And I mean, it's been so long since I've read a physical book. And, you know, my eyes are so screwed. I am so nearsighted that for me to read a book, I have to take my glasses off and I put the book right in front of me. But I can only read with one eye. I can't read with both eyes. So I have my head in the book and I'm reading with this eye and this eye is up this way. So I'm like,
I really think that, you know, there ought to be stores that are affiliated with, like, they should be able to be affiliated with Amazon. Like, you buy a physical book and you should be able to get either the ebook or a discount on the Audible book.
That would be nice.
That'd be a nice affiliation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would help both parties.
And then, you know, Audible and Amazon wouldn't have to go building these brick and mortar bookstores. They're already out there. Just affiliate with these bookstores that are already out there.
And that way you save the small businesses that are already here, and Amazon can benefit. I think that's a good idea.
People could order, you know, if you get some kind of rare books in your store, if that happens to be the kind of store you are, you know, you can sell them on Amazon.
Well, and stores already do that, the third-party sellers.
Yeah, that's
on Amazon. So they already do that. So why not make it official? Yeah, Amazon, put a ring on it.
Put a ring on it.
Put a ring on it. Make it official. Make honest partners of all these bookstores.
Make them honest bookstores.
Make them honest bookstores. Don't be ashamed. Don't be Jeremy Thorpe. Bring it out into the sunshine. Say, I love the book loft. I love this bookstore, and I'm going to make it mine. So we should at Jeff Bezos, because he's got nothing going on in his life. I mean, he's cool. He has no controversies of his own.
No, not at all.
I'm going to at Jeff Bezos and say, hey.
It's not like he's an Elon Musk, right?
Or that he's battling the National Enquirer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, that talk about things that are just none of anybody's business.
I know. But I'm on Jeff Bezos' side. I mean, from what I know, because he stood up to them. I mean, it sounds like they wanted to blackmail him, and he said, "No, you can't blackmail me. I'm going to go public with it." And I kind of like that. Take the power away from the blackmailers.
True, but it's none of my business who he's hopping into bed with. It is none of my business whatsoever. That is between him and whoever he's married to and whoever he's going to bed with.
That's right. That's his personal business. It has nothing to do with my Amazon transactions.
Shame on you, National Enquirer.
Exactly. I don't give a crap. And most of the people I know who use Amazon probably don't know it's owned by Jeff Bezos. They probably don't know that.
Probably.
So that's not going to affect them as long as they don't put it on the front page of Amazon. Hey, would you rather use Amazon Smile or see a naked picture of Jeff Bezos? So as long as you don't put it on Amazon's homepage, most average people aren't going to know anything about it or care.
That's true. And I don't need to see Jeff Bezos naked.
I don't want to. No. I don't want to. As it is, we see his head naked.
That's enough.
Yeah, he's kind of an odd-looking dude, and
what I want to see what I want to see are the naked prices of how much that I am saving shopping at Amazon.
Right, I like that. I like seeing deals. I like seeing lightning deals. Do you want this thing you never knew you wanted for $6.99? Yes, I do. I've got 4 hours and 11 minutes to make my purchase. Oh no, I've only got 4 hours and 11 minutes. Cart, confirm purchase. I've got it. I've got it. Yay. So yeah. I haven't been spending as much though, because I frankly have no money.
I don't think any of us have much money. I mean, I've been working my butt off to get my book recorded, and it's hard, it's hard when you're the little guy.
I know, but you're doing great. How are you with what you're recording? How's that going?
I just re-recorded chapter 9.
Why did you have to re-record it?
Okay, so when I started recording Hunchback, I still had the blue snowball microphone.
Yeah.
And then Che came along and bought me this absolutely amazing Blue Yeti.
Yeah.
And then we listened to something recorded on the Blue Yeti.
Oh, it makes a big difference, huh?
And Che said, I hope you're not gonna take this the wrong way, but I really think we should redo the whole thing on the Blue Yeti.
You might be right. It's painful to think of, but...
And I went, okay. Because he was right.
He's totally right. Yep. It's horrible to think of, but this is your legacy. I mean, this is
so good. Worth every penny spent on this microphone. It's the Blue Yeti. I had bought on Amazon.
That's wonderful.
Worth every penny, really.
Nice. So now, is the Yeti? Is that blue disc? Is that the microphone, or is
it's? I will.
Why are there two parts to it? Okay, so that's the microphone. What's the blue thing?
This is a pop filter.
Oh, so you don't have the.
Yeah, so it just it keeps down the buzz and the puzz and the
I wish I had that before, man. I didn't have that.
I think I actually still need yet another. I think I need a foam one over the top of the microphone because when I get excited, I'm just like, and it sounds like
I was always doing that. Yeah, I was always doing that.
And it can be extremely difficult when you realize you have to re-record certain sentences from the same chapter over and over.
Well, and what I did, I spent a year doing mine, and it was painful. I would go in and in between every word or where my breaths were, I would just copy and cut the and all that. It was painful. And another consequence of that is I misjudged how much was good to pause between words. So now that I listen back to it, I didn't leave enough space in between words, so it's too clipped. I don't have enough space between words, and it sounds like this, and some people don't like that, and so I regret that.
It is an enormous learning experience, and I feel very grateful that I don't have to do it anymore because Che does it all.
Yay, Che! He needs all the beer. He deserves all the beer in the world, because it is a tough job. It is painstaking.
So I might spend 45 minutes recording a chapter. And then he spends 5 to 6 hours.
It is hours. When I did it, I spent almost every weekend on it, and I would spend entire Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes 8 hours in a row. I would get so cramped up that I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember sitting in the closet, because that was, I was in an apartment. And so the only place where it would drown out noise was the closet. But then I remember recording a chapter and listening back, and I could hear my neighbor's washing machine.
Oh, yeah. I have to stop whenever like big trucks outside come by. I have to stop. I have to press, pause and wait. I have to re-record a section whenever the neighbors downstairs slam a door, whenever neighbors stomp up the stairs. Because you and I can't afford our own recording studios. The Blue Yeti makes it wonderful because now I can actually sit here in front of my computer and I don't have to have a gigantic box around the microphone to record anymore. But all those other stuff, the heating, the refrigerator, Che has to turn his computers off at night so that when I wake up, and I have to turn all my fans down to minimum.
Yeah.
And then when I go to game, I've turned back up again, to reduce the noise because it's difficult. But, like those of us who do this at home, these are the lengths we have to go to put our books on Audible.
I know, exactly. It's like, we're our own producers. We're everything. It's painstaking. There's our word again. It is painstaking. And appreciate anyone who does this, who records their own podcast. Jill Bryant. Appreciate it, because it's not easy. I mean,
it's not easy just doing a podcast. Like having the bravery to get up in front of people is something I really admire. And it is extremely difficult, especially that first time. And then you realize, like tonight, I forget things in the notes. I forget the links, and then I have to remind myself, next time, make it better. Next time, make it better.
Well, we don't always have the time. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we have, a day to plan the notes and get everything ready and tip-top, ship-shape.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're running around during the day or taking naps or cleaning through stuff, and we're like, oh, we've only got an hour, and you sit down and you're trying to type and everything. Sometimes it's just rushed.
Yeah. Well, one person I would like to thank, besides Jill Bryant, thank you, Jill, for coming and listening to us tonight. And I know I'm going to find it in the notes. What? Down here. In the general. Tasting Niche. Thank you, Tasting Niche, for subscribing to our channel. I really appreciate it. And Tasting Niche is also a place where you can go and check out some tasty beers. She's got some podcasts labeled Morning Beer, and I really enjoyed some of those little ones. Thank you so much, Tasting Niche.
And you know what? Now that I'm feeling a little bit more like myself, I think I'm going to do some more video reviews. Maybe I'll do that with one of the beers I got, because I went to Total Wine and I went crazy.
I saw your beers. I would love to know what you think of some of those beers. That'd be great.
I've got a Southern Tier in the refrigerator right now that I'd never even seen before. I never even heard of it. Yeah, and I'm like, where did that come from?
And the only thing I could pick out from Southern Tier is creme brulee.
But the creme brulee is an awesome one. That's one of their flagships. It's a good one.
That's a pretty high bar. That's a pretty high bar to set for taste for Southern Tier. It's, you know,
good. I mean, that's one of their best. If
you
can only get one Southern beer, hey, creme brulee is it's actually my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So go for it. And they had a creme brulee at Total Wine, but I made myself put it back because I was spending so much on beer I hadn't had before, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not going to get any beer I've had before because I want to try this.
You decided to go Total Adventurous.
Total Adventurous, right? I had
admiration.
Yeah, I had a Lagunitas I hadn't had today. It was called Undercover.
Mm-hmm.
I put it on Untapped, but their beer is generally pretty good, and it's always definitely worth the price because they have really good prices. And this was a very spicy, hoppy beer. Now, like I said, I don't do a whole lot of hops, but if there's enough malt to coat the hops, then I'm okay. And this did have enough malt. So it ended up just being like a very malty, very thick, but spicy beer. And I liked it.
Nice. Yay, Lagunitas.
Lagunitas. So, yeah. So maybe if I'm feeling up to it tomorrow after work, I might do something. If my stomach's behaving, I'm still mad. Yeah. My stomach's all over the place. So
yeah. Understandable. You know, IPA and pizza. I still don't know how people like survive on it.
And I love pizza, and it was a great pizza. It's from Moon River Pizza. It's great pizza, but it's very thick, and I had 2 slices. And I even had 2 lactates, so I thought I'd be okay, but I was not okay. And even now, I'm like,
well, I think I'm going to get going. We've gone through the notes. I'm going to let you get going. Okay. I'd like to thank all our listeners for listening to Beery Good Entertainment, episode 51. We have been talking about a very English scandal.
Yes.
And next week will be our politics episode. We have not completely decided what we're going to talk about, but stay tuned because almost guaranteed it's going to be good. Because we're a superhero duo. And it's always good.
And our politics are a SHIT show.
Yeah, so it is. It can be a spitfest.
Plenty to talk about.
And we are very, very happy to have people come in and agree and not agree and give us their opinion.
You know what? Everyone has an opinion.
Exactly. So look for us in 2 weeks and expect a really great show. Please go ahead and look for me. I am on 2 places right now. S0rceress0.com. That's S0rceress0.com. You can find the podcast and all my books there. Or you can find me on Linda Tepler. That's Teppler. That's my author name. Lola, where can we find you?
Well, my website is out of date, but that's I think that's LolaLaracy.com. I need to get back in there and do stuff. But I'm active on Twitter at Lola Laracy, LARISCY. That's really the only place I'm active right now because I'm just trying to get back into my life. I've had a very rough time recently, and I'm just trying to sort myself back to normal right now.
Mm-hmm. Totally understandable. And we hope that you try some really wonderful beers and that you have a really wonderful night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.